Hey guys. Okay, so this week we're going to cover off a slightly unusual, let's just say, frequently asked question. It's not one that typically comes up a lot, so normally it wouldn't meet the criteria for frequently asked question. But we've had it come up twice in the last week. So I thought, something's changed, something's in the air, we've got to talk about this topic. So what's the topic? Well, today we're going to talk about what is the difference between an ancillary use and a primary use. Why do you care about it? Well, essentially it dictates what rules and requirements you need to assess the proposal against and the chance of success. So I'll give you two examples that we've had this week to help illustrate what I mean here. The first example was a paint warehouse. So they essentially stock and supply paint tins. What they wanted to do was open part of that warehouse for use as an education facility. So they wanted to train people on how to use their paint products to paint cars, all of that sort of stuff. The second example is a retail shop. So the customer wanted to move in there and sell their pet products, their pet food and all of that sort of stuff. However, they also wanted to manufacture part of those pet products on site. So with those examples, do you treat it as an education facility or a warehouse with an ancillary education component? Or do you treat it as a retail, a shop with an ancillary industrial manufacturing component? Or is that industrial manufacturing component totally independent and separate? The pathway you go down totally changes council's perspective on the job. So in the example of the warehouse, if you go down the path of warehouse in industrial, happy days, ticks the box. You want to do education facilities on a warehouse, on an industrial property, not so straightforward. The parking requirements for an education facility are through the roof, whereas parking requirements for industrial, they're quite low. And then you go to the retail, obviously, if you want to start manufacturing, this property was in amongst sort of residential precinct. If you want to start manufacturing goods, carrying out those industrial uses, not so good. But hey, if you want to continue the existing shop use, happy days. So it can be a total game changer. So what dictates the difference between ancillary and primary? Unfortunately, there's no black and white rules. It would make my job so much easier if there was a clear definition in the planning scheme. But it's generally accepted that there's three criteria that you need to meet. So number one, there needs to be a direct link or connection between the uses. So you need to say that primary and ancillary use rely on each other for it to be ancillary. Just have to think about what I was trying to say there. So to make sure you're not going down the path of two independent primary uses, you need to make sure there is a direct use connection between the two. They rely on each other. Number two, you need to make sure, generally speaking, that you are occupying less than 20% of the floor area for it to be ancillary. So if you start occupying more than 20%, you're starting to blur the lines. It's starting to become a primary standalone use. And number three, you need to make sure that the number of people on the property, so in terms of staff and customers, is, what am I trying to say here? Less than 20%. So basically the number of people, you've got a ratio of 20 to 80 as a maximum limit. So those factors, the 20% floor limit and the 20% people limit, is a size restriction, let's just say. It's a way of limiting the size. So there you go, the three factors: direct connection, small footprint in terms of use area, and small number of people on site. If you can tick those three boxes, then you can most likely go down the path of arguing it's ancillary to the primary use and therefore can be assessed under the banner of that primary use. However, if you don't meet those criteria, it's most likely going to be a standalone primary use, and unfortunately you then open a whole new set of requirements that you need to consider, and more often than not it's painful. You don't want to go down that path. So there you go. That covers off one of our less frequently asked questions. As I always say, until next time, thanks for watching.
For all you red tape lovers out there, I have one thing to say. Well, no, actually, I've got three. Number one, the advice provided in these videos is general in nature. It's not site specific. You would be a silly billy to go and make financial decisions based on this advice without first checking with the town planner. Don't be a silly billy. Number two, Brisbane Town Planning is in no way linked to Brisbane City Council. The views expressed in these videos are my own, not council's. So if you don't like them, blame me, not council. Number three, what was my number three? Oh yeah, the views expressed in these videos are accurate at the time of recording. If you're watching this video back 10 years from now, the views may not be so accurate. That's all. Bye.